Hello team, and welcome back to your new bridge class. Now today we are going to be focusing on strength in the bridge. There are two main factors that are important when it comes to strength in your bridge. Number one is your ability to push yourself up into your bridge and to hold it there. So that's going to be upper body strength focused, and number two is going to be the lower body strength and your ability to keep your hips up high into extension, meaning open, to help create that arch and that supporting structure. So those are the two strengths we're going to be focusing on: upper body pushing and holding, as well as lower body extending of the hips as well as holding. So as per usual, I'm going to be running the same warm-up I've been running during this bridge program. I will insert it here. You are welcome to follow along or skip it. In any case, if you do skip it, please make sure that you are prepared and have warmed yourself up and are ready for back bends. After the warm-up, we'll get straight into it. See you on the other side. Okay, so for the warm-up, we are going to start with our feet shoulder width apart, soft bend in the knees, and you are going to take a big in-breath and lift your arms up into the air. Up here, you're going to move your wrists and your fingers, and then out breath, elbows in, start to lean back, bring your chin to your chest and roll your spine all the way down into a crouch or a squat. I'm going to shoot this one from the side so you can see. From here, you are simply going to lift your hips, keep the knees bent, tuck your pelvis under, and you are going to roll all the way up. Once again, arms overhead, move the hands, wrists and fingers, just 2 circles, and come back down. Lean back, chin to chest, roll down, and squat, and roll back up, soft knees, tuck the pelvis under, and roll up, arms overhead. We're going to do a final one, and down, roll, and at the top of this one, we are going to open out the arms and take a big step out to the side. In our wide squat here, you're just going to shift your weight side to side, and you're going to go into a lunge. Now this lunge position, you are going to try to keep the base arm as straight as possible and try to reach the opposite elbow down to the floor. So you're going to need to retract one shoulder blade and protract the other shoulder blade to make space between your shoulder blades so that you can reach the floor here. You're also going to be trying your best to sink into your hips, and once you've got the touch, you're going to roll and create a twist, and then roll back down, 2, and twist, 3, and twist. And you are going to swap sides. Same thing, arms stay straight, see if you can sink down and touch your elbow to the floor. If you're struggling with this one, you can have your hand a little bit further away from that front foot, and that should help. But every time you go through this, try to creep your hand in close to that foot. And we're going to do 3 of these again. Twist here, rotation, and down. This is creating some rotation at the thoracic spine and also opening up the arm here. This is going to be useful in your bridge. Final one. And go to center. And you're going to jump your feet hip width apart. Shake the hips, and from here we're going to draw the knees forward towards the floor. Hands are going to go behind you. I'm only changing positions so you can see a better angle. And from here, making sure to keep the hips right above the heels. This should create quite a big stretch at the toes and the feet and the ankles. So use your hands here to help you out. And then from here, you're going to reach down towards the floor with one knee, and then the other knee. Try your best not to arch at your lumbar here. Keep the pelvis in a posterior tilt as you reach down. 2. Once you've done your reaches, you're going to transition back to a crouch. Reach forward with your fingertips, lean a bit of weight over your shoulders and jump your feet back out. We are going to go into a lunge again. However, this time we are going to have the same arm as the foot in front, and you're going to place it back behind you. Sink the hips here, place a little bit of weight over the hand and draw 2 circles with the free arm overhead. 2. Place the free arm down towards the middle, start pivoting to center, cross the arm behind and find your lunge on the other side. Arm goes down, weight goes over the wrist and big circles. 1. Try and sink the hip here. 2. Place the arm back down in the middle, cross behind, find your lunge, place the weight over the hand and circle. We're going to do one more of these on the other side. Middle, cross, lunge, 2 circles, and find center. Okay, from here we are going to lean a little bit of weight onto our wrists, hands in parallel, and you are going to draw big circles around your wrists with your shoulders. We're going to draw 5, so final 1, 5, and 5 on the other side. 1, 2, big circles, 3, make sure you control the weight with your legs, 4, final 1, 5. We're going to jump the feet in. We're going to do some scapular press-ups, options to do these with your knees on the floor or in a full front support position. So I'll change angles so you can see here. The aim of the game here is to keep the arms straight, slight turn out, and you are going to retract your shoulder blades and protract them. We are going to be flexing and extending the spine on these, and we're going to do 8. Option 2 is to do these in a full front support. So down, flex, down, flex, 3, sink into your shoulder blades, extend your back, push the shoulder blades out, flex your back, down, up. I believe we've got 2 more if my maths is right, and final 1. Down, push all the way up into your shoulders range and come back. Here we are going to roll up. So roll all the way up. Take an in breath and out breath. Gentle bounces. Just allow your shoulders to sink up and down naturally. And just come back down to a slow and stop. We're going to finish with some shoulder circles. So we're going to step now wider than shoulder width apart. You're going to take one arm and you're going to draw a big circle in front of you in a back stroke. You're then going to turn, twist your body and come back the other side using a front stroke. And once you get the pattern, you are going to add a little bit of speed to your circles, making sure to twist your spine in order to use as much of that full upper body range as possible. We're going to do 10 of these circles, of which I think I've done about 10 now. And then we're going to switch direction but stay on the same arm. So we're doing a back stroke to come back, front stroke at the front. And once you get the hang of the pattern, just allow the arms momentum to swing and use your soft knees and legs to catch the arm on the downswing and keep swinging it. Okay, we're going to repeat this on the other arm. So arm out, back stroke at the front, turn, front stroke to come back. Keep your knees nice and soft. See if you can start catching the swing of the arm on the downswing with your knees. And once you get the hang, start adding a little bit of pace to the arm swing. Same arm, other direction. And front stroke at the front, back stroke to come back. 10 circles. And time. Good. Jump the feet in. Give your whole body a little bit of a shake. Side to side. Loosen the hands, loosen the arms. No tension in the body. Just use your legs and your hips to create this shake. And come to a slow. And time. Okay, so as I mentioned, we are going to be looking at strength elements for the bridge, and we're going to start with the upper body pushing strength. Now for the upper body pushing strength section, which is the one we're going to start with now, I have 4 different options for you. They are going to be the same exercise, but you will have 4 different ways of doing this so that you can progressively work yourself towards the variation that challenges you the most. So if you watch this video and you find that progression 1, 2 and 3 are accessible for you, you might start on 4. However, if you watch progression number 1 and 2 and you try and that's challenging for you, of course, that's where you're going to be. So let's get into our first option. These are going to be your wall bridge push-ups. So all you need for this variation is to find a wall. So start arm's length away from the wall. Strong base, pelvis tucked under, soft bend in the knees, reach back for the wall, lean a bit of weight over the toes and reach back towards the wall with both arms. You can shuffle your feet forward if you need to, walk your hands so that they're comfortable, and from here you're going to bend, push, 4 reps. And come out. Now volume for this is going to be 3 sets of 6 to 8 reps. Now the second option for our bridge pushing work is going to be to elevate the hands. So we are going to be in a full bridge now. We're no longer going to be placing our hands on the wall. However, as you can see, I've stacked a set of blocks up to lift my hands up above the floor. This will ease the weight off of my shoulders and put it more towards my feet, as you will see when you try this. Now I've left a gap in between the blocks deliberately so that I can sink my head down between the gaps to get more range. However, you can also glue the blocks together and simply tap your head on the level of your blocks. The great thing about this one, of course, is that you can regulate the height of your blocks and you can work your way down. Now, of course, your shoulder and T-spine, as well as your hip mobility, is going to be a big factor on how much you can lower the blocks. But we've been covering the shoulder and T-spine mobility in the previous classes. So if you haven't checked those out, please make sure you do, as it'll greatly help with this material and the material that is coming up. So let's get into this one. You're going to lie yourself down with your head in between the blocks. Make sure that they are at a good distance here, and you're going to place your hands here, of course, on top of your blocks. From here, you've got 2 options in order to push yourself back up. You can lift the hips and then use your strength to push. Alternatively, if you think you'll struggle with that, you can use your hip extension to help with your lift. Here's what that one will look like. So lift the hips, then you will drop them, and as you extend, you push. Now from here, you're simply going to drop and push. Drop and push. Notice how my head is going through the cubes and touching the floor. This is helping me to work more range. I could also just be going from the top of my head. However, if you can, work the full range. And finish. Okay, so next option is going to be your basic floor bridge push-ups. So we're getting rid of all of the blocks, all of the cubes, and we're going to try these on the floor. Now, before you try these on the floor, of course, you should have gradually been shedding blocks off of your elevated variation in order to get to the floor. However, if you feel you can already do them on the floor, this is going to be where you're going to be doing them. So the floor bridge push-ups are quite intuitive, really. I'm going to demonstrate one set here for you, and then you will get on with it. Starting lying down on the floor, and you're going to bring your hands up here by your ears. Set your feet so that they are a good distance apart, usually hip width or a tiny bit wider is fine. And again, you can use the buck or the extension of your hips in order to push yourself up on the first rep. You are then going to do 6 reps of your bridge push-ups, and that'll count as 1 set. And you are to repeat this for 3 sets. So here we go. And up. 1, 2, try and keep your elbows in. 3, 4, 5, try and push your chest through, and the top. 6, I think that's 7, and down. So these are your floor bridge push-ups. Now the final variation I have for you, and this is going to be the toughest one, this is going to be the feet elevated bridge push-ups. Now of course, if you elevate your feet, you're bringing more of your weight in your center of mass over the shoulders, which means will make this harder. Now this is an important progression because not only does it work your pushing strength, this variation is also going to be useful later to open up the anterior part of the body. And I will cover this in an upcoming class. For now, all we're focusing on is the pushing and holding strength. So here we go. So set up your blocks and place your feet up onto the blocks. Same as before, hands go by the ears, and if you need to, use the extension of the hips to push yourself up. And we're gonna do 6 reps. Here we go. Good. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So these are your main bridge push-up options. Pick the one that you think is challenging for you. Perhaps you are to give them all a try and see which ones you think are working you the most, and then you are going to stick to that one. 3 sets of 6 to 8 reps, and then you will move on. Okay, so that's shoulder pushing done for now. The next area of strength we want to start developing is going to be the legs, the glutes, and the hip extension. And for this, we're going to start with a glute bridge. Now, there are different ways to perform a glute bridge. A lot of people quite like to do it lying down with your back on the floor, and that is a possibility if you don't have access to an elevated surface. However, of course, when you are in your bridge, your body is going to be elevated off the floor because you're going to have your hands and your arms length to support your body weight. So it makes more sense to be working this hip extension strength with an elevation. Hence why I prefer to do the glute bridges with your back elevated on a surface. Now this surface is perhaps a little bit low. Ideally you would like it to be a little bit closer to the height of your knee, or just underneath your kneecap would be ideal, but this will do just fine. So we've got two options for these, and this is going to be one with equipment and one without equipment. Now, generally speaking, when we are training the lower body, we need to have some sort of external weight involved because the big compound muscles of your lower body are so used to carrying heavy loads, namely your upper body and any other weight you might be carrying, that realistically working with a percentage of your body weight with the legs is not going to accumulate a huge amount of strength gain. Your own body weight is already a stimulus that your legs are used to handling, so external weight is going to be a lot more effective when it comes to building strength and resilience in the lower body. However, we still have one option with no equipment, and that's going to be your single leg hip thrust or glute bridge, and then I will show you option 2 later and you will get going. Volume is going to be 3 sets of 8 to 10 reps. So here we go. You're going to set yourself up with your back on your elevated surface. Think of having your feet hip width apart or a tiny bit wider if you wish, and you are simply going to straighten one leg, keep it nice and straight and tense, and in this position you are going to go into your hip thrust. So up, hold, down, 3 and 4, 5, 6. Make sure you engage your glutes, extend the hip at the top and push hard and down. Control your descents, don't rush the movement, take your time at the top. Remember, the bridge position, you're going to be holding it for extended periods of time, so you want to get used to holding your hips in extension as much as possible. You will repeat this, of course, on both legs, and you will do your 8 to 10 reps on both legs. Remember to pause a little bit at the top as you go through. Keep tension in the straight leg. Try to extend it as well. And time. So that's going to be your single leg glute bridge, and you are going to do 3 sets of 8 to 10 reps on each leg. Now, as I mentioned before, the next option is going to be to do these with a weight. Now, I've only got a 10 kilogram dumbbell, which realistically, again, is not enough. It's not that much. Your lower body can usually handle a whole lot more than 10 kilograms, and probably also than what you think it can if you've never done much leg strength. In any case, all I've got to work with is a 10. I would recommend to do something to start with a weight that is 25% of your body weight for this exercise. And even then, you'll probably find that quite accessible. In any case, if you don't have access to 25% of your body weight in weight, anything that you can add on top of your body weight is going to do. So I've got my 10, and it's going to be the same exercise. The only difference is we are going to do it with both legs this time, not just one. So back on your elevated surface, weight on top of your hips, and you are going to push, hold, extend, and push, hold, extend. Push at the top here. Make sure that you are engaging your bum, your pelvis is in posterior tilt, and you are trying to keep the hips and an arch here that's going to mimic the position of your bridge. And hold. Try to really remember what this position feels like when you're at the top, because that's going to be the position that you are feeling and looking for when you're holding your bridge. And time. Okay, so you have 2 options here. Pick the one that suits you the best, and you're going to put me on pause, get to work, and I'll see you on the other side. Volume recommendations again are 3 sets of 8 to 10 reps. Okay guys, in this next exercise, we're going to put the hip extension work we've been doing using our glute bridges to work. This is in the resistance squat. This exercise is going to be useful now to start priming the front of the legs and the balls of the feet during your bridge. You want to have your quads engaged and your feet in parallel when you are in your bridge. This activation is going to be useful for a variety of different transitions, entrances and exits. So as much as you want the glutes to be firing, the hips to be extended and in posterior tilt, you also want to have the ability to engage your quads and lift up onto the balls of the feet during your bridge. And this exercise is going to cover the strength requirements, the balance requirements and the muscle engagement for this to happen. So the resistance squat, here we go. You're going to start by standing with your feet just a little wider than hip width apart. And the idea is you're going to put your pelvis into a posterior tilt. You're going to start to bend your knees and go up onto the balls of your feet, engage your quads here, and then start to lean your body back. You will then turn your body towards one side and see if you can reach your heel with your finger, and then come back up. And then you will repeat again on the other side. Knees forward, posterior tilt of the pelvis, quad engagement, lean the body back, turn, see if you can lower, touch your heel, and then come up. Remember here, when you are descending, you're also using your thoracic spine mobility to get a bit more depth. So thoracic spine, touch. Now, of course, if you can go a little bit lower and get down to a floor touch, that would be ideal. So here we go. Lean, posterior tilt, strong quads. Find your balance and touch the floor and then come back up. It's important not to break the arch of your resistance squat. So you don't want to be sort of folding at the hip in order to come back up. You must imagine that you've got a belt on and that someone has tied a string to the belt, to the middle of your belt buckle. They're right above you and they're literally trying to pull you up from your belt buckle, and that's how you're going to get up. Now, on the resistance squats, you should be aiming to go as low down onto the floor as possible. If you can even get your hand completely flat on the floor, then that's going to be the rep that you do. If you do manage to get your hand flat on the floor, you're going to use your wrist and your hand flick to help with the push-up and the stand-up. I'll do a couple more with you. Notice how I'm leaning the weight over the point of contact before I push up. That's also very important. You want to have your center of mass over the point of contact if you're going for the full flat hand in order to get yourself up. If you hang about here with all your weight behind your feet, you're not going to be able to come up. So you must lean the weight over the point of contact and then you can come up. Now you want to be doing 3 sets of 3 reps on each side. So that's a total of 6 reps of your resistance squat, 3 on each side, and you're going to repeat this for 3 sets. Okay guys, so that's going to be your resistance squats. You have a few different layers in there: heel tap, floor tap with a hand, full flat hand option. 3 sets of 3 reps on each side and you are done. Okay team, we are now at the movement portion of today's class. We are going to be learning a new movement. It is the dynamic rotation to bridge. This movement is going to incorporate a lot of the work we've just done. A lot of the strength requirements we've been working towards are all going to be incorporated inside of this movement pattern, and you'll see why now. I'm going to demonstrate the dynamic bridge rotation and then you guys are going to give it a go. Here it is in action. So you'll start in your crouching position and you will find your all fours position. And then from here, you will slide one leg behind, start to go up into your half bridge. And then you're going to think of doing your resistance squat, partial resistance squat, and swapping your hands dynamically. So you're going to use your arm here to push your weight over the feet and then swap and exit. Let's see it quick. Now this move can be quite heavy on the shoulders or the wrists if you haven't played with it before, so work your wrists and your shoulder strength before you start playing with this one. I'm going to demonstrate once again and walk you through it. So start in your crouch, lean forward and slide one leg behind the other as we've been doing in our bridge classes so far. You should know all about this. Pivot, and then from here you want to send your weight over your feet, and as you send the weight over your feet you are going to swap your hands and then pivot out of your bridge. Now to begin with, it's perfectly fine to completely send the weight over the point of contact, which is the feet, and to have a pike fold at the hips and to sort of sit into the bottom of your squat essentially in order to do the hand swap. So here we go. Slide, match, up, and then you can fold the hips a little bit, send the weight forward and do a gentle swap, and then extend and finish. Again. Of course, the idea being that you gradually start to extend the hips more and use the resistance squat strength in order to do a nice high dynamic bridge rotation. So here, swipe, and other side. The other important thing you can do for this exercise is work on your hand swap. So just take some time to map out what the hand swap is going to feel, because the hand swap essentially is going to be quite a dynamic movement. So take some time to map out the hand swap, because that's quite a dynamic movement. You're going to be rotating your head quite fast and your vision is going to blur as this happens. So you can just practice in this position, just doing dynamic hand swaps so that you don't feel too surprised or unfamiliar or lost as you're doing the dynamic bridge rotation. Volume count for this one is going to be more of a play. So stick a timer on, have a play with this progression and just enjoy it. There doesn't need to be a rep count on it. Just take your time, play with it as much as you need and think of learning it. Watch the video, listen to the cues and give it a try. So guys, that is all I have for you guys today. Make sure you take your time with all of this skill acquisition and training work. Be patient, learn to enjoy the process, manage your expectations, and as per usual, I will see you on the next one.